7. All right, I'm going to call the a public hearing for the Kingston Springs Board of Commissioners to order right now for August 20th, 2015. First item is ordinance 15-006, off-street parking requirements. Is there anyone here that is here to speak about the off-street parking requirements? All right, I do not see anyone. So. The second item is ordinance 15-008, amending the 2015-16 budget. It is advertised in the South Cheatham Advocate. Is anyone here to speak about the amendments to the 2016 or 15-16 budget? All right, so I guess we motion to adjourn the public hearing.
Motion to adjourn.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Okay. Quick public hearing, right?
Did I take a minute?
We have to round up.
All right, now we can call the Kingston Springs Board of Commissioner regular business meeting to order for August 20th, 2015. Please stand and face our pledge. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, Debbie, can you call the roll?
Corlew,
Here.
Gross,
Here.
Lampley,
Here.
Remick,
Here.
Stone.
Here.
All right, we have a quorum. The minutes have been circulated to everyone. I assume you've all had a chance to look them over. Do we have a motion to approve the minutes from
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, minutes are approved. All right, oh wait, did I? No, I didn't see something. Confirmation of agenda. Do we have any additions to the agenda? Am I on the right spot here? Any additions to the agenda? I have one I would like to add. I don't know what item we should make this, but we have some folks from, oh wait, no, it's actually A, it's been put on this. The one that was online, I noticed didn't have the PTO on here, so. Actually, I don't have anything to add to it then, so. All right, do we have a motion to approve the agenda?
Motion to approve the agenda.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Announcements from commissioners. Mr. Lampley, do you have anything?
No, sir, not right now. Hopefully get some good news during the meeting about this paving that's not being done at this point.
Should be moving soon, I think. So.
Thank you very much. That's all my comments.
After last week's planning commission, the group of people actually realized they didn't know so many neighbors. It was good for them as a community to get together. They had a gathering at Burns Park, which I also attended, and it's quite civil, and they actually came forth and kind of realized that they were kind of out of place and very rough, and they were going to connect with Mr. Northcutt and explained he was a real person. But also it was a good, as a group, they got together as a community, and I think there'll be some more community actions. They got to meet their neighbors. It was a good event after that, so it put a positive twist on it.
I don't actually have anything with me. What you, Bob?
Nope. I don't have it.
Hearing? All right. Community input. This is a time where you're welcome to come up and address the commission. Please state your name and address if you do approach the festival.
Marie Stafford, 198 West Kingston Springs Road. I think all of you have heard or know of one of our longtime residents, Miss Peggy Deal. You may also know Miss Peggy will be leaving our community at the end of September. She's going to be moving in with her son Shane. She was born in the White House on the corner across from the Church of Christ on April 6, 1926. After her mother passed away when she was only 3, they moved to Maple Street. After that, her family lived in 4 different houses in Kingston Springs before moving back to the house on Maple when she was in 8th grade. She lived there until she married Eugene Dill at the age of 20. For the next 54 years, Miss Peggy would live in Nashville and in Goodlettsville. She stayed busy raising their 2 sons, Shane and Barry, and after Eugene's passing, 15 years ago, she moved back home to Kingston Springs. Miss Peggy has impacted so many lives in our community. She's always seen smiling and having a positive, feisty little attitude. Spend a few minutes with her and you can't help but be in a good mood afterwards. Along with never meeting a stranger, She has also been a big help in keeping the fish population in Burns Park Pond, to humanity below, with Gary probably. We'd like to show this amazing woman how much she is appreciated and will be missed by having a get-together at the community center tentatively on September 27th for all to attend to wish her well. Community Bank and Trust and DACO are going to help with food and beverages, and I'd like to ask this commission to approve the use of the community center on Miss Peggy's behalf for that Sunday afternoon if no other events are scheduled. I hope you'll agree with me that if you live to be Miss Peggy's age, have been as generous and kind as she is, and are loved by so many, our wonderful little town could reward the milestone, or her milestone, with 4 hours use of our community center. Thank you, and I appreciate your consideration.
So we can't really address that right now, but maybe we can discuss that in other items at the very end of the meeting. Thank you, Mike. Would anyone else like to approach this motion? No.
Y'all on the agenda.
You just suspend right.
Y'all on the agenda, so you,
We're official.
That was just a random utterance there, Bob. All right, on the consent agenda, city manager's report. Do you have anything for us, Mike?
Yes, sir. Just a couple quick notes. I did want to give you some heads up, but under my report, the first thing was we met with he's the risk manager for our insurance company. He and I went down and just kind of went through a cursory look of all the city properties, both public and internal. And we kind of took a look at it like we were maybe getting ready for a TOSHA inspection, some of the things that they might comment on. I've attached all of those on the second page. I just drafted a memo and sent to staff, but I've also copied you on it. I think we found 31 different things. Some of them are minor and have already been addressed, and some of them still need to be addressed. So we'll be working on that, and then I'll be just doing a kind of a double check with staff to make sure all these were checked off. In early October, I'm going to give them a month to look at it. I wanted to give you a couple of updates. We had 2 community forums at the end of July. We had one for area realtors. I thought was really well received and something that probably, I don't know that any community, in Nashville, in the Nashville area had done. We also had one for just the general business community, and both of these were trying to get a better feel about the town out, trying to tell them what we're up to, and then kind of get some feedback. These were the highlights from the comment cards from both days. Some really good little nuggets in there that I think I may be coming back to you on as we kind of, work to implement some of the suggestions. Moving on down.
I wanted to really quickly throw in there because I forgot that happened after the last meeting, but I do want to commend Mike for doing that. I think it was excellent. I went to both sessions, and I've had so many people talk to me afterwards and say how great it was to get together with the business community, bring them together, and to bring the realtors together. And I think that it's going to foster a lot better relationship with some of those businesses in the community as well. So thanks again, Mike, for pulling that together.
Thank you. I think I had 3 of the 5 commissioners there, but just even if you weren't there, you should know, and I didn't know until we looked at it, that business revenue, and not from a property tax standpoint, not from a sewer standpoint, is a quarter of all of our city revenue generated from our local business community. Really kind of interesting stuff, and that trend is a growing piece of the pie.
Yeah.
So just moving on down my report, the JCVD, they did not meet this month. They did meet in late July, and they kind of kicked around. They wanted some money to fund kind of a feasibility study for that property that A.O. Smith donated or sold, I guess, right on the Cumberland River in Ashland City. We kind of gave some pushback, I think, on the board on that, and they're looking into some kind of alternative funding for that. But they have not met in August. The Planning Commission did meet last week, and they did have a rezone request to build a subdivision. Several of you were here for that. We were packed. We never got to a vote on it. and we did take some public comment, but the applicant had withdrawn his request. So that is the update from the Planning Commission. They will not meet in September. They'll have a meeting in October. At this point, it just looks like some continuing education hours.
Can I want to throw one thing in on that too, really quickly, is I'd like the board to consider some folks that maybe would like to serve the city in the capacity of a planning commissioner, because I'm having a little trouble finding somebody that wants to fill that position. We've got one definitely open spot, and we should have another one very soon, I believe, before the next planning commission meeting. Actually, the chairman of our planning commission will be stepping down, so if you all have any recommendations, just send me an email or something,
And I think we're looking for city residents.
and they have to be, both of them are for city residents, so.
Just kind of moving down my report, and you don't have a full breakdown on this, but I just wanted to make you aware, we did add some new flooring, I believe at the end of June or early July, in City Hall. If you haven't been in, it's a world of difference for us, and certainly an improvement. You have budgeted $10,000 for City Hall repairs to kind of continue that upgrading of City Hall, and we have identified 5 different projects, 5 potential projects that should fall underneath that $10,000 threshold. But pretty much it's revolving around a rotten door in the code office, exterior door. We have if you've been in our typical receiving area, we thought we were going to have a door that we could put a window in, and that would suffice for our counter, but we need to knock a hole in the wall and make a little bigger counter. And then we've got a leaky roof in the kitchen. We've got some lighting that is kind of substandard. And then I think we had a request from Brandy to add a window to her office. So those were 5 things that we identified as potential projects. We had asked 7 different contractors to come take a look. At this point, we've got 1 submittal back, but once we do that, we'll thumb through everything and bring it back to you for consideration. We've got some grant opportunities. One that will potentially be on next month's agenda, and then a couple of them that will be further down the road. I've got a meeting tomorrow with Carastar, the box factory in town, and then the county, and then some other business folks to try and figure out how to set up or improve our recycling, our access to recycling here in town. And I think the thought, or at least my thought, was to try and set up a curbside type service with little to no expense for the city. I don't know if that's going to be attainable. There's a recycling equipment grant through TDEC that we've identified, and it's a 60-40 match. And you would need to vote on that particular grant in September. But know that as we try and put together a program, if we can put together a program, we'll try and get something in front of you to discuss next month. There's 2 additional grant projects that we've been talking about for a while. One is a Safe Routes to School program, and if you've been watching the news, the National Highway Transportation funding just got renewed temporarily. So there is going to be some money coming from the feds to the state for that Safe Routes program. They'll be setting that up and taking applications, I think in like November, December time frame. That's a little bit more tedious. Additionally, you've got the multimodal, I think, that we wanted to take a second swing at. And there was an LPRF, it's a recreations grant that both Brandy and I think the Parks Board is going to take a look at some point, just to do some things at City Park that we had budgeted for this year that we weren't able to fit in. An additional, maybe knock out some of that playground, that old wooden playground that's in City Park. So we've identified some projects, we've identified some potential funding sources. What I would like to do is to look around for a grant administration and maybe some grant writing services. Just issue a request for qualifications, see who's out there, who's offering some services, and how all that works. And then have a kind of a go-to sort of grant administration person if we get several of these lined up. So with your blessing, I think I'd like to issue an RFQ for that and then bring it back to you next month.
Okay, should we vote on that, or?
Yeah, you can make a motion, I think, if you want.
Is there a motion to allow, Mike to issue an RFQ for a grant writer, just so we can get some feedback on some of these individuals and look over it?
Yes, motion.
Second? In favor?
Thank you. There was just, and I'll just kind of wrap up here, but the budget document is out. You've all got a copy of the packet. That's kind of the executive summary. In addition to that, hopefully you've seen in the Advocate and online that we had the full statistical kind of thick packet. It's sitting over there if anybody wants it on the way out. It's got too much information. We didn't want to inundate you, but I just want to let you know that both those resources are out there. They're both publicly available. It's been updated on the website, and our budget document is found at the library as well. Somebody can come to City Hall and pick up a paper copy, take it home with them free of charge if they want. So we are pushing that out there. It's all in an effort to be transparent, and of course we did apply for a Distinguished Budget Award. So we're trying to get some recognition, I think, for the financial services we provide. In addition to that, just a couple of upcoming events. We're going to have a retirement ceremony for Larry Craig this, I think it says this Saturday, but this Sunday? Saturday from 2 to 4. And then staff is starting to think about Art in the Park, so just be aware that that's out there. We are taking applications. We also, our disc golf, the signage is up, the full signage is up, but we'll be having our grand opening event, I think, in October. The splash pad will be closing here in a couple weeks. Next week, we did advertise for a vacant public safety officer position. We've got 10 applications in, and we'll be taking a look at those, and I think we'll be putting an interview panel together to maybe interview 2 or 3, maybe 4 candidates for that. Public Works has really been working on right-of-ways. If you noticed in town, they've been cutting trees and mowing the sides of the roads, that sort of thing. And then we're ordering salt for the winter. We don't have much on the agenda for next month. You've also got a copy of the department reports. Do you have any questions?
Do we have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Motion to approve consent agenda.
Second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. On to legal. Ms. Noe, do you have anything for us?
I don't have anything.
Welcome, by the way,
I'm
to your
excited to be
first
here
commission
for the
meeting.
first meeting, and appreciate y'all giving us the opportunity to serve. And I'm just looking forward to it. So, but I don't have anything.
Don't have anything specific tonight. All right. All right, on to unfinished business. We have the second reading of ordinance 15-006, off-street parking requirements.
Just a high-level overview of this, Mr. Mayor. This is a second reading of an ordinance that passed the Planning Commission in July, and then a first reading at the July meeting here. But pretty much what this is if and something we found out with planning Dollar General is that we have too much parking required of commercial facilities, so we want to be able to add verbiage to our zoning ordinance to allow for them to reduce their parking requirements based on certain other criteria. If you have any questions.
Well, do we have a first, or do we have a motion to approve ordinance 15-006?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Is there any discussion of this ordinance? I think it's great, actually. I think it's going to solve a lot of problems down the road.
This does not reduce the size of parking stalls.
That's right. That's right. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, motion passes. Second reading of 15-008, amending the 2015-16 budget. Debbie, do you have, or Mike's going to go through that as well.
Mr. Mayor, this is in your packets under item 7B, and what it is the second reading of an ordinance. The first reading, passed in July, but on the very back page was the summary of changes. It's also on the screen. But what we did was we stripped some funding from projects that had been passed in the 16 budget in order to fund additional paving and the replacement of the Brush Creek Road Bridge, or culvert that's being replaced. You see a summary of the changes. Do you have any questions?
We're very involved in this process, so I think everyone knows it relatively well, but do we have a motion to approve resolution 15-008, amending the 15-16 budget? Second, is there any discussion?
Mr. Mayor, this is probably a good opportunity to give you an update on where we
On
are with
paving,
paving
right.
and the bridge as well. First with Brush Creek Road, we had a delay, and we've had a pre-construction meeting with the contractor and the engineer and then the city, and we had hoped to, and we advertised and told everyone we were going to close the road on the 17th, this past Monday. We have not closed that road yet. The contractor has not had his concrete plan approved by TDOT yet. So once that gets approved, I've got a phone call to make tomorrow to him to see if it's approved.
Is that on the contractor or TDOT that's delaying that process?
It was on, well, it's with TDOT now.
Yeah, okay.
I don't know where the backlog is.
Okay.
We anticipate shutting the road down on Monday for good, though.
Did you have anything on that, Gordon? I know you're concerned about paving, so.
Well, I'm concerned about the rest of the paving, because the bridge's gotta be repaired and then the paving completed there. When are they gonna start on the other paving?
So for Brush Creek Road, this is the replacement of the bridge, and of course they're going to be tearing up the approaches to it. And like you said, the Tennessee Valley is going to be doing the paving over. We think that we're going to be ripping that thing out, and then we're going to be pouring that structure back in place. It's not a prefab bridge, so the approaches will be at least gravel. If we need to open the road back up at some point, in order for the compaction to happen for us to come back and do the paving. But I don't know how quickly the paving's going to get to them.
So I'm talking about the other paving. I know about the bridge and the construction.
So
Street paving.
The street paving has been supposed to have been done last year.
we've gone to a we've gone to a pre-construction meeting on Brush Creek Road. We had not had a pre-construction meeting yet with Tennessee Valley. They had issues getting their bond paperwork together. They've just submitted it, I think on Monday, and everything checked out. And we've got contract documents in front of us tonight, at least for the mayor and the attorney to take a look at.
I know that you're primarily concerned probably with Harpeth Meadow because, you know, we're coming up again on cold weather, and that's what delayed it last time, and then we came around to spring, and, you know, and then it got pushed to the next year's budget. So I imagine that's where you're really heading.
Well, you know, you hate to meet people on the street and they walk around and say, well, you said it was going to be done last year, and then we were told it was going to be done in March, or be the first series of paving that was started this year. And I feel like, personally, if Tennessee Valley can't get the job done, we just, you know, need to do something different. I'm just tired of fooling with them.
I'm supposed to have a meeting with them Tuesday or Thursday, which will be our pre-construction meeting, and that's when I should have the timeline, you know, with the engineer and the city all sitting in the room with the contractor. That's supposed to be next week.
Can we put a little teeth in them?
I
Can we get them to understand that, you know, we're just as important, our money is just as important as somebody else's? If you tell me you're going to do a job, then we expect you to do the job based on the bid specifications. Now, if it's not being done, who is going to be the one that's going to make sure that they follow their path? I mean, I think this comes from City Hall, from either you or the public works person should be out there making sure the job's getting done. We cannot afford to go to an area and say again that it hasn't been done for the second year in a row. Nor can we say we're waiting on Brush Creek because that's a bridge being built. We know you can put gravel in there temporarily. You should put gravel in there because it's going to settle before you pave it anyway to get a better base. But we agreed to allow them to have this contract, and they came in and said, well, we can do more this year because we've changed our mix, We've done a few things on these cul-de-sacs, but when are they gonna start? I mean, this is August, you know, we're right around here, you know, last year is in October, they said we couldn't do it anymore, you know. I mean, they've got a short wave of time to get a lot of paving done, and they want 120-something thousand for it. It's just me.
I'll have an updated timeline at our pre-construction meeting, and I'm sure we'll hammer home the point, just like we did in July, or in June, you know, that funding is kind of contingent on the work being done. But I will have an update for you by next week, and of course, we'll let you know.
In the budget listing, the Brush Creek Bridge is $82,488. 22,000 was paving, correct? Is this why this has gone up?
Yes, that should be, that should be including the paving
That
as well.
includes the paving.
Because the replacement was,
It also includes contingencies for engineering and,
That's the full price.
I'm drawing a blank on the other.
it wasn't, traffic,
No, but you know, we always,
traffic
you
control.
have contingencies that the contractor, something may come up, there's a change or what have you, so we always have budgeted 10% to cover that, and then 10% for engineering cost of the project. So that's why you see 80-something, because those are included on the paving and on the bridge work.
Excellent.
Okay.
Is there anything else on paving or the budget amendment? Any other items of the budget amendment from anyone? All in favor? We had a first and a second, right? Did you get the second?
I didn't.
I'll second.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none? Passes. On to new business. First item, item A, is Rachel Chisholm of the Kingston Springs Elementary School PTO is going to address the commission.
Yes, so you need my address?
No, well, I mean,
No?
we know who you are.
Okay. I apologize for my parents, I just came from coaching 4 and 5-year-olds in soccer, so it should be a little bit easier. Just a little bit about myself. My name is Rachel Chisholm, and I've been here almost 3 years. My husband's worked in Cheatham County for a little over 10 years, and so when we were looking to relocate our family, we decided to move to Cheatham County so we could live, work, and play in the same community. And I have to say, in the 3 years we've been here, I have not been disappointed. This community has just won my heart. And lo and behold, this year I find myself as the president of the PTO at Kingston Springs Elementary, where I have 2 kids and 1 coming next year. And Joy is the vice president of the PTO. And so, being a new PTO, we're going to try a little bit of different and new things this year to raise money. One of the things PTO does, actually one of the main things we do, is raise money for the school to buy things that they are not in their line item budget. So a lot of our focus goes to technology or supplemental materials for the classroom. So we get requests almost daily from teachers to add things to their classroom. So this year, one of the things we want to do that's a little different that we've never done before is a fun run. And the reason I'm here tonight is because we'd like to ask you guys as the city to sponsor us in the fun run. And what that means is that we're getting t-shirts that are sponsored. Every one of the 400 students at our school and the teachers will receive a free t-shirt. We have 15 sponsorships open, and our goal is to get local sponsors only. So we have actually gotten a really good response from a lot of our local businesses in sponsoring us. But we thought the city that shares our name, Kingston Springs, we're the only school in the city that shares the name Kingston Springs, would be a great opportunity for you guys to sponsor us as well. Then what that would mean is just our logo on the t-shirt, this Kingston Springs logo on the t-shirt. And then also we are generously donated every year a directory ad from the Midtown Printing from the Von Collin family. And so one of the things we were offering was ad space in the directory, but lo and behold, y'all get that for free, evidently, because we just saw that in last year's. But we do advertise for you guys with the commissioners and all the pertinent information for you guys in the city. So you might could get that for free off us this year again. So for $150, you would get a sponsorship on our t-shirt, which would go free to everybody in the the school, plus this is free for everybody too. We don't ask any students to give us money for any of this. And the directory, for $200, you get the directory ad, the t-shirt, and signage along the fun run course. So we have a couple of sponsors that have already stepped up to do the signage, and we think that's pretty cool. So this would be an event that's open to the community. It's on a Friday, but we would love for anybody and everybody that could come and do this, something new that we're trying this year. And we hope to raise several $1,000s with this, which is our biggest fundraiser of the year. Probably would overtake anything else that we've done. So we're really optimistic. We've had a good showing so far, but we would like the community of Kingston Springs to be able to support us in that as well. Do you have anything else? No.
We have these little sheets if you guys want to flip over them. I mean, I only printed 2 because, sorry. But that's pretty much.
Where is the run?
It's going to be at the school. So
Hopefully
in that
the
field
weather,
in the back.
yeah, hopefully the weather
yeah.
allows us to have it outside, and they'll be
Yeah.
running around.
So they do 20 laps, and they actually, the shirts will have the sponsors on the back with a little track. And so we'll have volunteers, and every time the kid runs around, they get a little mark on their shirt. And so, you know, fitness and all that stuff too. We're really pushing that this year. But this is our first year, maybe our last if we don't do so great. But we're looking forward to it. It'll be fun.
Something, Mike, I'd like to just mention to you too is, since they do always provide an ad for the city in the directory, we can really use that as an opportunity to put some of our social media outreach that we've done in the past few months, I think, there. Like those, because, you know, you've got young parents that are gonna be looking at that, and that may be
Yeah,
the way they're going to
I mean, this,
wanna
y'all get
communicate
2
with the city.
pages,
So
yeah.
we have 2 pages, so
Mhm.
plenty of space to.
Promote maybe the art in the park, or when is the event?
It's November 20th.
What about the snow?
Well, if it snows, then it will
It's in
be
the gym.
inside, and we're going.
We're doing it regardless.
Yes, but
We
we're
actually,
going.
yeah.
Yeah, I have every intention of, for our sponsors, if it's back there, I'm going to put the signs in front of the school.
Yeah, well, it'll be, we actually
Yeah.
had it scheduled for last year, but you know, we missed 10 days of school. And so we actually had to reschedule and not do it at all because classroom time is more important than something like this. So we tried to get it earlier in the year this time so we can hopefully raise our money. So, thank you. Yep.
Any discussion from the board on whether or not to sponsor the Kingston Springs?
Is that open for discussion?
This is an agenda item. It's open
It is
for
an
discussion.
event.
Tony, I had just passed a note to Jennifer just because, remember, we had the same situation come up with the high school.
With the high school last year.
And when Larry was here, he said no more.
Yep.
So now, if you all want to pass that to Jennifer to research or what have you, but he said we can't do that.
Oh, okay.
I'd be willing to put in 25, if anybody else wants to put in 25.
I'll put in 100.
Yep.
So how's that?
We're gonna-
Does that work for you
we'll cover that.
if the commission helps personally do it for you?
We could put your names in bold in the little
Then
star.
put Gary
Gary-
Scott.
Did you say in gold?
I want my name in.
Oh,
It has to be in gold.
By the way, my daughter does.
yeah, I know, she's been outstanding. We really appreciate her. She's been fantastic. And they're gonna, Midtown is gonna be a sponsor as well, just for us saying thanks to them, we're gonna.
So
put
what
them
is
on
the
our shirts.
cost for someone that has a business that wanted to do something? I don't know.
The same, 150 and 200, but we also have
Directory ads.
directory ads if they don't want to do the fun run. And then Joy, we're actually going to do an artisans page this year, and so the artisans and farmers will get half price. Not on the t-shirts, we're not offering that, but just the directory ads, they're going to be cut in half. So the local artists and things that want to advertise, they're going to be offered, their sheet looks a little different, but they're going to be offered half price to have farmers and artisan pages in the directory. Just, we thought that would be kind of neat for the community as well.
Well, thank you for coming. Hopefully that works.
Hey,
Just
we
as
are
well.
thrilled.
And thank you for serving your PTO board.
Yeah, that's actually, that is great that you all put so much time and effort into it. I know how much goes into it, because I hear the frustrations, and
Oh, it's great.
First time in
It's
10 years.
It's all the joy as well, so, and Glenn knows all about it from
No
his
more, 10 years.
previous experience, so.
Do you wish to keep this, sir?
Well, I mean, I thought maybe somebody'd make copies and send it out to us, or
We
just
have
send it out.
We can-
I can make
get-
copies
you
and
need
send
it,
them out.
We need to fill one out.
Yeah, I think we
Okay.
can.
For it.
I think we'll get you some minutes.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
All right, item B, first reading of ordinance 15-009, amending the 2014-2015 budget for year-end adjustments. Is this Mike or Debbie? I
Mr.
assume all
Mayor.
Mike now, right?
This is part of our new workflow.
Okay.
But in your packets under item 8B, we have the year-end adjustments for the budget year ending June 30th. You have the updated budget ordinance in the first couple pages. The very last page is the summary sheet. There were 3 adjustments. One was we had a reduction in the amount of cost. This was for the multimodal writing for that grant project. It was less than anticipated. There was an increase in city attorney fees that was not budgeted for. There was also an increase in the amount of street lighting costs, and that was due to the interstate lighting, the overhead lighting at the interstate exit. So those 1 decrease and 2 increases, a total amendment of $18,000. That is far and away, both in terms of number of adjustments and number of dollars fewer than had been in years past. So those are your year-end adjustments. Do you have any questions?
Do we have a motion to approve ordinance 15-009 on first reading?
Motion to approve.
Second?
Yeah.
Second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, passes. Have a schedule of public hearings, correct?
Yes, sir.
For next meeting, the September meeting.
Mr. Mayor?
I'm
Yes.
sorry, I was talking to Tony, I missed the first and second.
It was, Bob was
Motion.
first and Glenn was second.
Thank you.
And public hearing for September meeting. All right, item C, resolution 15-008, contract for website redesign.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
This is in your packets under item 8C. This is a resolution that Larry had drafted while he was here, and both I and Larry approached the vendor, Core Business Solutions, right here on Main Street, about it. This is for redesigning our website, hosting it, and for 1 hour a month of maintenance to the site under the first year. This fits into the, I think, $3,500 or $3,600 line item that was appropriated through our budget amendment that we just passed. So it fits the fiscal threshold, and it's for a redesign of our for our website.
Okay. And everything's, all Larry's concerns have been addressed in this, I've seen. Do we have a motion to approve resolution?
I make a motion to approve resolution number 15-008.
Second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? No, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None. Motion passes. All right, item D, Mark Willoughby, certificate of compliance for Dudes Wine and Spirits, 174 Lubian Hills Road. Do we need the applicant to come forward for this, or?
I don't think so, he's just looking for that information that I've given you.
Okay.
He needs his letter of compliance and the certificate of occupancy.
Okay, so this just has to be signed and returned to him?
Yes. I'll sign it and then, can we pick it up tomorrow morning?
I can.
Okay, so we really need to get a copy of it.
You'll have to get a copy of it. I'm sorry about that.
Or if you want to wait till after the meeting, I'll be happy to run, get it, make a copy and you can carry it with you. That'll work.
All right, item E, approval of write-off of uncollectible sewer debts.
Mr. Mayor, The item number in your packet is 8E. It's just a one-page sheet, and the utility district writes these uncollectible debts off twice a year in terms for bookkeeping, more or less. But these are debts that are past due. They try to collect on. I think they've been sitting a year, and they're told to write them off. The Kingston Springs sewer towards the right, and I've highlighted our total is $494.85. This is a motion to make that $494.85 consider it uncollectible, and this is down from it's typically around $800. This is down from that amount previously.
Do we have a motion to write off the uncollectible sewer debts of $494.85?
Motion to write it off.
Second?
Then,
Any discussion of that? Hearing none, all in favor?
aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Item F, certificate of insurance for the farmer's market. This is something we discussed a little bit last time, so I'll let you start with that, and I'm sure we have.
Mr. Mayor, this is an email from staff from the insurance company, and pretty much what it is, the bottom or the right-hand side of the paper on the third line. It recommends that if a third-party vendor is present at the farmers market and is to sell a product that someone is to sustain a personal injury on, they could file suit against the vendor, but they could also file suit against the farmers market and us because we're hosting the farmers market on our property. What this is a request, and it's simply a request, is to ask for an insurance policy from the vendors that names the city as an additional insuree should there be litigation. And this falls in line with something I think that other markets are doing. I think Ashland City is doing this as well. But it's a request, it's a suggestion, it's not something that they mandate at this time, but it's a recommendation.
So Jennifer, just from your experience in Ashland City, it's okay. Is this something that's been easy enough for has it hindered participation in the market? I mean, obviously we have to do what's
We
best.
kind of, of course, the farmer's market just kind of got a Hodu change, and then it's moved to River Bluff Park and Ashland City, and so we've kind of been looking at things, and we've kind of been, I talked to Sandy that isn't directly under the mayor, and we were looking at grandfathering some things in. Typically, if they are selling a product such as food, they're going to have a liability policy. And so what was discussed in Ashland City that we're looking at doing is grandfathering some of these in. If they had previously had an application, then they would not have to come into compliance until the next following term when they made but that is in essence what Ashland City is doing. We're making them comply to have that separate insurance policy and having the city as an insured. Because you do have, if you're selling, say, honey or canned goods, canned salsa or whatever, and that person gets some kind of food poisoning, then there can be some liability there. It's a lot different if they're selling pottery or something like that. But a lot of your farmers market is food products.
So you're requiring them to have products coverage as well as general liability, which
We're
is
requiring
part of
them.
the package, right?
Yes, they're kind of having a package still, and
You're
that's.
requiring a minimum of 300,000, or because you can get 300
I
about
don't,
the same price you can 100.
yeah, I don't recall off the top of my head what the amount is, and like I said, we've started with the new applicants, and then it will grandfather in for the people that have, had previously applied, and we're giving them kind of a leeway to be in compliance with that.
Yeah, because I'm sure some of them, if they go to different locations now with their products, they're already having to give it to some,
That
and
is
it would just
correct.
be basically letting the insurance agent list an additional insured as being the city to prevent a problem down the road if somebody failed. Not only just, there are a lot of things that can happen that you're not even liable, you're not really thinking you're liable for, but you could be when they're in your care, custody, and control.
That is correct.
Yeah.
That is correct.
Excuse me, Gordon, what is a $300,000 policy typically?
Well, I haven't rated anyone for this type of deal, but there are specialty companies that offer, like for fairs and different events, you can go, like, for And I think what we'd have to do is just do some research, but if Ashland City is already requiring it, I'm sure they have somebody that's already submitting some type of cost in there. And I don't think the cost would be that astronomical. As a matter of fact, if I was doing that type of business, I'd want to protect myself, either with this or $1 million umbrella, you know, which would also suffice that requirement. If someone carried an umbrella, then they could just name the additional insured as being, you know, the city, and that would suffice, because you're going to have $1 million worth of coverage. And most of the time, people will get $1.2 million, but, you know, like for instance, contractors get 300, 600 if we're going to just do local repairs or whatever. So that's 600 is aggregate, which gives 300 for general liability, and also gives products and completed operations and some other coverages, fire, legal, and medical payments as well. But I think it's a good thing, just because in this litigious market we're in right now, anybody will sue anybody or try to sue anybody if they think they can get a penny. So that's why Walmart has such a problem with people filing suits against them, just walking in their premises, falling on wet floors that don't exist, you know. But I think we would be wise in looking at that in the package for whatever you do next year as far as the fee. Because, you know, a fee is one thing, but protection is far ways out of fee in my book. And I think it's going real well.
I do too, and you know, that's what we have to kind of balance out there is, obviously we don't want to make this something that makes it cost prohibitive to those vendors.
I think maybe, you know, checking in Dixon, seeing what Dixon Farmers Market charges and Ashland City, and kind of
Yeah, and I can report back or.
the fee structure or whatever, and see what, you know.
So would this coverage be built into the fee? Is that how they're doing it there?
No,
This would be something they'd have to purchase
pay
on their own.
themselves.
Personal liability.
So yeah, it's personal liability, so.
And I would think that most of them would want to do
I'm
that.
just curious, you just don't have any general idea, like Bob asked, just ballpark what this would cost?
Probably minimum premium $150, $200. It depends on, you know, how serious you want to get with it. You know, and finding the right carrier, because some of the carriers will just put minimum premium in there, $500, and that's kind of, you know, for this type of risk, it's kind of hard to say I can pay $500 for a policy, and then I've still got to pay fees at Kingston Springs and Ashland City or whatever, depending on how much volume, you know. But
And is it something that you can get for your homeowner?
not really, because it's a
No?
commercial. You're doing it as a business, and that's where they try to nail you.
Okay.
But it's kind of like the liability of the city. You know, they went through here about the potholes and things of that nature, and but you don't ever. The city could still be sued, irregardless. You know, and that, you know, of course the courts will probably, if we take the right provisions to say that we want them to have insurance, and then they get insurance and cancel it, okay, you know, then that's about listing you as additional insured, you'll get a copy of a cancellation notice. So that's extra protection for the city. So I think it's worth exploring, maybe bringing back up, and during the process, maybe, Mike, if you give me, I can kind of just see what an average rate would be, you know, whether we go through whoever.
You want to go put you the information from Ashland City as well, so you'll have that.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Because, you know, in flea markets, like people go to flea markets in Nashville, they got to have insurance on their wares a lot of times too. So.
Okay.
Well, that's something we definitely need to put some thought into, and maybe do a little research and find out what everyone else is doing. I'd like to find out more about what's going on in Ashland City, and Dixon's got a pretty well-established market as well, so I don't know what their current requirements are either. So. All right, monthly discussion, surplus items. Any surplus items?
No, sir.
All right. Other for discussion. Well, it's for discussion only, but we have the issue that was brought to us by the Spafford of allowing the city building to be used for a celebration of Ms. Deal's time in our city.
Motion to approve.
I think we, last, Gary presented the first award for a Good Citizen Award, and Marie just happened to be the recipient last year, and I think someone that has done, or has been here that long and has affected so many lives, I think we can definitely let them have the facility for 4 hours. It's, yeah,
I just have-
deal day, that's right.
Till then,
Now, are you going to classify this as a city function? Because then you go back with the insurance, because whoever has that building has to have insurance. So if you give this to them to use and waive the insurance, then the city's got a liability.
Make it a city
Make it a city function.
function.
I mean, I'm just bringing that to
Who
y'all's
cares whether it's
attention.
rented or not?
Yeah,
city function.
maybe something that the city would have. to-
Change the date if it's rented.
So there's really three things. One is it's staff time for cleaning, opening, that sort of thing. There's the insurance waiver and there's the fee waiver. There's 3 parts to it, just so we're clear.
Those are the 3 items. Is any more discussion on that?
Motion to approve.
We have a motion to approve allowing this facility to be used for 4 hours on, it really has to be pending that day because we don't have the calendar for for
As a
us.
city function?
As a city function.
City function.
Yes.
I need to check that date.
Second,
Second?
all in favor?
Aye.
All right.
27th
Second.
Thank you.
27th
September.
September. That would be 3 days before she
Thursday.
be leaving us.
It's a Sunday.
It's on Sunday.
Sorry, I misplaced my agenda, but we have a motion to adjourn.
Motion
To adjourn.
All in favor?
Aye.